I recently made a video, and by recently I should say months ago, that it was a very popular theory, and by popular I mean by my standards, since obviously my channel is very small at the moment, but I seem to have gotten some good feedback from a couple people, and that theory, of course, was that the Chatelaine sisters, while they were born and raised in Hoenn, traveled abroad to an equivalent of the United Kingdom at some point, and that is what explains their in-game accents. Now, I'll just recap what I said in that video, which you can see on my channel. It's basically analyzing the various lines that the four sisters of the Battle Mason, that is the Chatelaine sisters of the Battle Mason. I analyzed their dialogue, and it is very apparent that each of them have a mostly different accent from the United Kingdom area. Now, the fact that they're sisters, and you would assume that they traveled abroad together, would be very suggestive that they should all have the same accent. So it is kind of odd that they don't have the same accent. One of them is more like southern London, like one of them is northern England, one of them is like more Scottish, one of them is more northern Irish, Obviously, for all I know, one of them is Welsh. I don't know. I'm not an expert on accents, and I'm certainly no expert on the United Kingdom and their accents. But the point is that all four of them have various English accents. And by English, I mean, of course, from the United Kingdom and not American. Now, regardless of whether this theory is completely right or not, that it has nothing to do with the Chatelaine sisters, the point is that my conclusion was that Gen 8 would be featuring a region based on the United Kingdom. So far, we've had Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh based on different regions of Japan. We've had Unova based on the United States, specifically New York. We've had Kalos based on all of France, which was a very big region. That was kind of like a big deal. And then we had, of course, Alola based on Hawaii. All of these geographic similarities are intentional. They're not just theories or coincidences. These are all intentional in the making of every single game. The creator of Pokemon, Satoshi Tajiri, who originally came up with the idea, his hometown is what Pallet Town's location is based off of. And ever since then, they've done equivalents when it comes to geography in Pokemon games, but to some extent the anime. Now, the Chatelaine sisters never appeared in the anime, so we have no confirmation of their accents. But along with them, we've also had these things in the past where it doesn't really matter. For example, back in the original Gen 4, Fantina, the gym leader who uses ghost Pokemon in Sinnoh. In Japanese games, she had, I believe, an American accent, but in American games, she had a French accent. Now, since then, we've had both an American region, Unova, and the French region, Kalos. So does that mean Fantina, who lives in Sinnoh, is originally from Unova or originally from Kalos? Because in Japanese games, she has an American accent, and in American games, she has a French accent. This is what I'm talking about. Also, Lieutenant Surge is an American, and there are other examples. But regardless of that, my theory was that Gen 8 would be based on United Kingdom because it is the logical next step. I was actually expecting Gen 7 to be based on the United Kingdom because it's so close to France, United Kingdom is right next to France. France was Gen 6, Kalos. So yeah, but they went to Alola, which was fine. It was a good region. It was a good game, good generation. But I'm still insisting that Gen 8 at least should be based on the United Kingdom. And the Chatelaine sisters are obviously good evidence of this because they have British, Irish, Scottish, London accents, whatever. You can analyze their dialogue on Bulbapedia for yourself. I don't have time to be an expert on this. So, what I was going to say on this video was that we finally have more, not necessarily confirmation, but more supporting evidence that I'm right. And that was in a recent episode of Sun and Moon, where Rotom is temporarily teamed up with Alolan Detective Loki from his favorite TV show, and it was revealed in that episode that the show was starting to decline in popularity, so they used Rotom to boost the ratings because he was so good at it. but then they revealed that they need to go for like an entire season into a different region around the world, like for like months, maybe even years, filming another season there, and because they were like, oh yeah, people need more new stuff. We're tired of Alola. So Loki was going to go to a different region, and Rotom's had to have this like whole thing where he didn't know, like he wanted to go, but Ash convinced him that, I mean, that doesn't convince him. Ash accused him of abandoning him, and Rotom got mad, like, hey, I'm not your Pokemon, I can do what I want. Ash was like, well, then I'll catch you. He failed, but at least he tried. And then Ash forgave Rotom and said, you can do what you want. And then Rotom was like, yeah, okay, but I want to stay here because I realized that I'd rather be with you and become a Pokedex than, you know, become a sidekick, because Loki already has Smeargle. And then they decided that, okay, so we're gonna like replace Rotom with Chatot since he can talk. And it turns out that at the end of the episode, not only did they only stay in that other region for one episode, because they were like, well, he's a Alolan detective Loki, we can't just abandon Alola, that's where the show takes place, which was ironic because it turns out they weren't going to stay there for a year, and after all, they were only going to stay an episode, so technically Ash and Rotom fought for nothing. I'm digressing, I just love talking about the anime. The point is that that episode of the Alolan Detective Loki, which is where Rotom would have gone if he had agreed to leave Ash, was obviously, without a doubt, completely apparently based on London. They are right there next to Big Ben, Westminster Palace, or whatever it's called, Westminster Bridge. I don't know. One of them is called, no, yeah, it's Westminster Bridge and Buckingham Palace or something like that. I don't know. I'm not good at English, UK geography. Forgive me. Obviously, this is based on London, and that's Big Ben, that's the palace, that's the bridge. That's where Loki went, and adding this on top of the Chatelaine sisters in my previous video with their accents, this is Game Freak hinting where they're planning on going for Generation 8, which will come out next year as a new generation of games. Now, I don't know anything more. I don't know if this is right, but it should be right because it's like, come on, it's so obvious. Generation 8 will be in the UK, without a doubt, is what they are hinting. Now, if they pull a 180 on us and be all like, oh yeah, all those hints, those are just a red herring to throw you off. We're actually going to Germany. No, I don't want to go to Germany. England is the best choice. They should have gone there years ago. Not that there's anything wrong with Alola, but yeah, well, at least that's what I think. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you agree. Comment down below what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with a friend, and I'll see you guys next time.